What is up, y'all? This is Will, and this is the Restaurant Owners Uncorked podcast, brought to you by us here at ScheduleFly. Simple, web-based restaurant employee scheduling software backed by legendary customer service. Like you'll literally have my cell phone number, which is this cell phone right here, if you're watching. It's a flip phone. And also a low price point. Look, if you were on pencil and paper or Excel, we'll save you time, we'll save you headaches, we'll make your staff happy. Everybody will know what's going on 24/7, 365 on their laptop, on their iPhone, on their iPad, on whatever device they use. We will make life easier for you and your team if you're on pencil and paper or Excel. If you're on one of the other guys, look, we are not VC backed. We are not owned by private equity. So what that means is we're not trying to sell our business right now, and we're not raising prices to try to increase our top line. We're not cutting staff and customer service to try to increase our bottom line. We are just taking great care of our customers with simple software and, once again, legendary customer support. ScheduleFly.com. Check us out. ScheduleFly.com. 30-day free trial. You can call my cell phone. It is on 3 pages on the website, on the public-facing website. You'll find my personal cell phone on 3 pages. Call it. Let's wrap. Give me a text. Let's text. Would love to hear from you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. What a great episode we have here, as always. More coming soon. Y'all are awesome. We would appreciate a thumbs up, a rating, a comment, a star, or whatever you're on. Give us a rating. It would be really cool, and it'll get this content in front of more people. All right. Thank y'all. Appreciate you. See you.
All right. We are live. We are recording. Peter, thank you for taking the time to do this today. Introduce yourself for me, if you would.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. My name is Peter Yang, co-founder of Pokeworks. We are the nation's leading poke fast casual restaurant with 76 locations across 21 states. And we're just building this company brick by brick since 2014.
Since 2014. Well, okay, so what the listeners don't know is that you and I tried this, and we had, on my end, technical difficulties last time, and we found that out about 25 minutes. So you and I are going to be I'll be asking you a lot of the same questions, which will be redundant for us, but not for the audience. So talk about how you, let's get your backstory. The one thing I always ask everybody is how you originally got started in hospitality.
Yeah. All right. I got to make sure I keep my story straight, right? No, but
we lost it all. So
all right. Who should I be today? No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, I got into the hospitality business. I mean, I pretty much grew up in it. My parents and we immigrated to the U.S. and from China in 1995 when I was just 6 years old. And my parents, they were artists. My dad had an interior design company, but coming over to the States, language barrier, licensing didn't carry over. So he jumped into the restaurants like a lot of immigrants do. He loved food. And so he saw an opportunity to buy a failing takeout Chinese restaurant, but he turned it around. And, at like 10, 12 years old, my brother and I would go in the restaurants and help out where we can, right? Whether that's peeling potatoes in the back of house or cleaning after the store closes, whatever. We kind of grew up in that environment. And as we grew, my parents grew their business from a single takeout Chinese restaurant to a Japanese restaurant to Thai restaurants. And through all of that, my brother, who's older, helped with menu creation, hiring, a lot of other parts of the business. But I grew up, college, high school. I worked as a busser, server, dishwasher, line cook, did a little bit of everything to make my allowance. And I actually went to college for structural engineering. Got my master's in it, did that for a year, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this.
Did you say structural engineering?
Yeah, structural engineering. Yeah, which, bridges, earthquake design, things like that. I thought it was for me. I was just too young and too dumb to realize it wasn't. But, I at the time, I was 21 years old, just kind of finishing college. And I was like, hey, Dad, I don't know if I engineering's for me. Do you need any help? Do you and my brother, you guys need any help with the restaurants? And he's like, well, we have this project that we just signed a lease in New York City. It's a big project. If you're serious, pack your bags and you got to commit. I was, again, young and dumb. I was like, why not? New York sounds fun. So I packed my bags, as cliche as it sounds. It was just a duffel bag.
Yeah.
Go to New York City, and lease was just signed. So I had to deal with the general contractors, getting plans, permitting in place. Once that was underway, finding the suppliers out there, setting up supply chain, hiring, posts, interviews, and got that up and running in about a year and a half. And that was a big service, full service restaurant, a 6,000 square feet full service hot pot restaurant. And man, that was a tough year. I'm tell you that. 21 years old, trying to manage like 60-year-old Chinese dudes is not an easy feat. They're like, who is this kid trying to tell me what to do?
Yeah,
and
that was a big leap too. So
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this, but I want to come back to New York, but let me ask you this. So your dad and your mom buy this failing place. He's an interior designer.
Yeah.
I would imagine you've got some badass looking places with that. But what did he see other than like, maybe it was like, I don't have a whole lot of options here with language barriers or permitting or whatever, but like he's got a failing place. He hasn't been in the restaurant business. What was it that he said, okay, well, I can do this? What did he see, and what were some of the things that he obviously proved correct, but why did he think he could go turn that place around?
I ask him that question all the time. A lot of it was just down to hard work, right? And I remember as a kid, he would drive. He's like, hey, guys, we're going to go check out this place we might buy. We're going to park in front of the restaurant, or we're going to count how many people go in and how many people walk by. For the whole time that they were open, for a whole 8 hours or 10 hours it was.
Yeah.
And my brother and I were bored out of my minds. Luckily, there was a Toys R Us next door, so we went in there. But my mom and my dad stayed in their car, counted with the clicker how many people walked in and out. And, even when they took it over, so that kind of gave them an idea, okay, what traffic was like. Once they took it over, still, I think the biggest opportunity my dad saw was, the food was not great. Execution was not great. Even as someone who haven't been in the business, you can see some of those things, right?
Yeah.
And, but it just came down to hard work. And I think even till this day, that's something that they instilled in me and my brother, is just certain things you just got to roll up your sleeve. They were there 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. Open to close nonstop. I mean, shoot, like I thought that was normal. Other kids, they had their parents at home for dinner, or whatever. No, we were like, hey, mom and dad, we're gonna go in the back of the house. Can you whip something us up, and we'll eat our dinner sitting on top of the rice bags.
Yep.
It was a lot of that. But within a couple of years, they turned it around, and it was the busiest store within that. It was a local franchise in San Diego, and they went from the bottom to the very top.
Oh, there was a franchise. Okay.
Yeah, it was a small regional chain. Yeah.
Yeah. So they were the lowest performing to the top performing in just a few years.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, man. I love that. That's freaking
awesome. It's just the basics, right? Operational excellence, great customer service. I mean, shoot, my parents didn't speak English, but through a smile, through being nice, customers can feel that, right? And just over time, we built more and more regulars. I would say business quadrupled from when they took it to 2 years later.
Dude, you just said something that I think is so important. It is lost a lot of times. It is so simple in concept, but the execution does not happen as often as it should in hospitality these days, which is, you just said they didn't even speak English, but so much translated through just a smile and great service. Like, I mean, you can put all the tech out there you want. Like, we're still people, and we just want to connect with other people. And that connection can be as simple as just looking somebody in the eyes and smiling and making them feel like you're happy that they're there. Right? I mean, am I right about that? Because I don't own a restaurant, but that's my experience as a consumer. Mm-hmm. It goes so far, and yet it's like lost a lot of times with like the hustle and bustle and all this stuff. It's like, this is a really basic thing always, which is like, hospitality is about making other people feel welcome in your quote home, right? Like, 100%. Am I right about that?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I feel like nowadays it just becomes a transaction, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But it shouldn't be.
No.
You think about there's so many options for someone to go grab a lunch. And restaurants is a zero-sum game, right? You don't have 2 lunches, you don't have 2 dinners, so that decision that person made to go into your restaurant is a big one. And I think you should respect that, and you should, really treat them like the king when they come through the doors.
Yeah. Amen. Okay. So you get this upbringing, mom and dad running this place. You're there all the time. You're seeing, you're learning. Went out and, not surprisingly, was like, I'm going to go do something totally different, and then realized, okay, this is it. I'm going to try my hand. So your dad goes, we're going to open in New York. Like what?
Mm-hmm.
Like that all the way across the country. What was the draw there?
Yeah. At that time, my brother and my dad, they were working on a concept that already scaled to about 6 or 7 in Southern California, and it's a Chinese hot pot chain. It was proven to be very successful in very Chinese concentrated communities. And I'm not sure if you're familiar, but Flushing, Queens is one of the highest Chinese density neighborhoods in the U.S. So those neighborhoods are not that common, right? So there were only a couple spots that would work or guaranteed or have a higher chance of success. And, we did know some people in New York, and they wanted to expand to the East Coast as that being the flagship. And that's what took the concept to New York City.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. That makes a ton of sense. So Flushing, is that where the U.S. Open is? Where the U.S.
Exactly.
Open is? Okay.
Yeah.
That's the highest concentration. I didn't realize that. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. So you're there, you're 21, you're figuring this stuff out.
Yep, figuring this stuff out, open it. It was a great success. That store did about 6-7 million per year, really high volumes. And around 2014, our family exited that and sold that concept. And my brother and I were like, it's time to do something for ourselves, a brand that we start from scratch. And one of the things that we learned over the years through the various concepts kind of led to the aha moment for Pokeworks and Poke as a food segment. When we ran the Japanese restaurants, we saw the growing trend of sushi consumption in the U.S., the growing trend of consuming raw seafood in the U.S. When we first opened in 2000, everybody got teriyaki chicken and katsu chicken. No one touched the salmon or tuna sashimi. But when we sold in 2006, the kids that were going there were eating the sashimi and sushi. Yeah. We're like, wow, this is crazy how fast the American public is, warming up to it.
Yeah.
The other thing we learned was dealing with high-skilled labor in the food industry is difficult. Hiring a chef, hiring a sushi chef, highly trained individual is tough. And there was something that we saw with the labor market where we're like, we need to come up with a concept that can be executed well with first-time job. First jobs, right? 15, 16-year-old with work permits should be able to do something well, right? And so with Poke, that's exactly what we were able to achieve. The exact same product in a different vehicle rather than rolled sushi or nigiri that's skillfully, that you have to train to build. It's a bowl that you build, right? Like I say, like a 16-year-old can come through a Pokeworks door, train for 30 minutes, and they go down the line and build a perfect Poke Bowl.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the other... Yeah, thank you. The other aha moment was just kind of seeing the increase, growing construction costs and real estate costs year after year after year. And just, it's a scary investment, right? For anybody who's looking to open a restaurant, you're just writing out checks for the longest time before you see anything come back. And those checks kept growing. And we're like, man, we got to really do more with less. That was kind of the mentality that I think my parents taught us too. Like, not just work smart, work hard, but just do more with less. Because when we came to the U.S., we weren't wealthy. We had to make things work with very little. And so that was kind of like, all right, let's be really creative, have that scarcity mindset and create a super efficient model. So with Pokeworks, labor is efficient. Now the build out, we don't have a kitchen. We don't have a hood. All of our product is prepped on a, regular stainless steel table, some refrigeration. That's it. There's no specialized equipment. There's no hood. There's no fryer. There's no range, things like that. So our back of house is essentially a prep station in any other restaurant. Right?
All right.
So, and then real estate. Our first store in New York was 750 square feet. It was a hallway. It was 9 feet wide. So it was pretty much a hallway after you build a counter. And we made it work. We cranked out of that. We did close to 4 million out of that tiny shop the first year.
Out of 750 square feet?
Yeah. Yeah, it was insane.
What year did you open it?
2016. 2016 was our first full year.
Okay, so you and your brother get together. You have this concept. You spent probably a couple years baking it out, and then open.
Yeah, I would say real estate was the longest kind of bottleneck, but it gave us time to refine the recipes, work on the branding elements with our partners. And once we signed the lease, we actually signed 3 leases. We had a partner in California. My brother was in Irvine at the time as well. And we were so confident in this concept. We're like, hey, you know what? If we can make this work in New York and Southern California, Northern California, 3 major markets, there's a good chance that we can make it work in a lot of other markets. So we signed the 2-3 leases around the same time. New York just happened to open first, and we used that store as kind of the test for a lot of operational kinks and everything when it first opened.
So did you have y'all were each in a market?
Yeah. We lived in different markets, but when a store opened, we traveled there and we'd all work on it together. And
but you were in New York?
I was in New York. Yeah.
You were in New York. Okay. Yeah. So you're there now. When you all did this, was this all self-funded, or did y'all all 3 fund all this, or did you take Dad?
It was self-funded. It was self-funded, our lunch money. We scrap it together. We made it work.
Okay, so so it was probably took a while to find that location because New York real estate's so expensive, but you crushed it. Good grief, man.
Yeah.
That's amazing. What did you do? How did you market it was it just execution and word of mouth, or was it like a PR, or what did you do to spread the word?
I would say most of it is just word of mouth and execution. We were one of the first to do Poke. We were pioneers in the segment. And when it first came out, no one knew what a Poke Bowl was. They were like, how do you even say this? Poke? What the heck is a Poke Bowl? Right. And people came in like, what is that? And, they've never seen tuna cut in a cube like that. They've seen it on a sushi. They've seen it in a roll. But they're like, what is this, cold pan of, what is that, watermelon? And it was so funny because there was a period we really had to educate the market. But I think word of mouth, right? Once they tasted it, they're like, holy shit, this tastes really good. It's just like sushi, but I bought it for half the price and I got in and out. And people took a lot of pictures on Instagram. And our ingredients are just very clean, right? It's sushi, seafood, rice, fresh veggies, fresh fruits. And when you take a picture of it, it's super vibrant. So people shared it like crazy on Instagram. But I would say the viral moment came when a video from Business Insiders came in to do a quick video on our Poke Burrito. And when that was released, it gained 1 million views per hour for the first 40 hours or something. And so that kind of put Pokeworks, Poke on the map. And then all of a sudden, everybody was doing Poke. Which led to our next kind of stage in our company, which is franchising.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so now were you there like your first 6 months or year? Were you like there every day, or what was that like? Yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly what my parents did, right? And I think it's still, that's what you have to do. You have to. I slept at the restaurant. I'm sure you heard it from other owners, but you kind of do, right? First couple of weeks, trying to get everything working, get the staff up to speed, making sure your product and everything that was on paper actually works in practice. So me and my manager, we were there constantly. I remember going to Fulton Seafood Market at like 3 a.m. picking up stuff because our seafood vendor wasn't going to get there early enough for the next morning. So it was a lot of just nonstop. But I don't know why I keep doing this, but I'm a lifer.
You're never going to stop, bro. You're never going to stop. It's in you. I can tell. Yeah. Well, okay. So you got your 3. You guys got it. You got everything on, and you go, okay, we can push repeat on this. So that's when you decide to start franchising. What year was that?
Yeah, that was end of 2016, believe it or not. So all happened within a year. It just went crazy. But we started this concept not to franchise. That was never in the plan. We just wanted to open corporate stores and run good poke restaurants. But because I think just the segment grew so fast and we had a lot of good PR, a lot of people started knocking on our door saying, hey, are you guys franchising this? Or are you guys selling franchises? And the first couple of times we're like, no, we're just doing our thing. And then we started thinking about it more and more and learning about the franchise business. We realized, hey, shoot, we have a pretty good franchise model, actually. From the operations, from the branding, the whole package is a good franchise model. So we worked with consultants, got our paperwork together, and by end of 2016, we sold our first franchise.
Okay. Okay, so you worked with consultants who helped you get this going. Now, but did you hire out the sales piece, or you had enough interest that y'all didn't need people out selling franchises for you?
We didn't have to sell. We just needed someone to pretty much intake the all the interest.
Is that still the case?
We have to do a little bit more selling now, but we still have good loyal fans across the country that we take. Yeah.
How many franchisees do y'all have?
We have 70. So we have 74 locations. Of that, 7 are corporate, and we have roughly about 30 franchise, 30 some franchise partners.
Average of 2 locations.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. That's a lot of locations. And then you went and through COVID and all that kind of stuff. And so do you look to, like when you're growing a franchise, are you specifically trying to grow into certain markets, or if somebody is in a market that's not necessarily on your radar, but they have the financial means and the skill set? You're like, how do you decide those things when you're trying to grow your franchise?
Yeah, I mean, these days we're a lot more selective, more no's and yeses, right? Before we're like, oh, hey, great, we're the prettiest girl at the dance. Let's just, we were happy about that, right? But you quickly learn that you have to partner with individuals and franchisees who are aligned with the core values of the company, not just maybe they like your brand or they have the money to do so.
Yeah.
So it's about the individual, the franchisee. You got to see eye to eye. They have to agree with how you guys are doing things, because it's a long relationship. Most leases are 10 years, so 10 to 15-year relationship. Opening a restaurant is very successful or very stressful, and something I always say, the nicest person become a really tough to handle person when a restaurant's opening that first month or two, because you're just so tired. There's a million things, right? So, you want to make sure that person doesn't go crazy during those most stressful times. And they understand how to play by the franchisor's book and vice versa. And it's a good partnership.
Do you have franchisees that are multi-brand franchisees that have proven their mettle in a different brands and are trying to replicate their operational success with just new brands in the same market?
Yes, yeah, we do. Actually, most of our franchisees are franchisees who are with other brands, and most of them are multi-unit franchisees.
Are y'all in Charlotte?
Mm-hmm. We are not in Charlotte. We're in Raleigh. I think that's the closest to the market, but Charlotte's a good market, yeah.
Okay. In Raleigh, is your franchisee a multi-brand franchise owner, or?
He's a single. COVID kind of put a halt to that development, but we're actually looking for real estate right now in Raleigh, Durham as well.
Okay. So you've got 7 that are company owned. Will you continue to grow the company owned footprint, or do you think it'll be franchise only, or could be both?
I would say, majority franchise growth. Everything we're doing to grow and reinvest into the company is for franchisee support. That's what we believe in. We've gotten to this point. I think the only reason why we need to open any more corporate stores is to support franchisees, whether as a test store or whatever that may be, a training center. But we're fully dedicating ourselves to franchisee support.
Okay. You have more no's than yeses. What, you don't have to, not somebody, not a specific person, but what's the profile of somebody that comes to you where you're like, this probably isn't the best fit? And I'm sure that is a very wide-ranging profile, but what's a common misconception that you see from people that want to be franchisees have about this business?
I think understanding that it takes hard work, right? It's, if someone comes and say, I have all the money in the world, but I don't want to spend any time on it, it's probably not going to work, right? It's not an absentee owner business. It goes back to what we were talking about, which is hospitality, right? You have to be there as an owner. Sure, at some point, once you build a great team, you can step away. But I think for a restaurant to be successful, the owner needs to be there and during those initial days to really set the culture, get everything working. The other piece is just aligning with a core value. I think hospitality is the key. Having a knack for hospitality is what we look for, that passion.
What are your core values?
Core values: attention to detail, spread aloha, sustainability, integrity, and what did I get to? Oh man,
that's all right.
That's what. Sorry, I should know this. Oh no, positivity. Gosh, yeah, positivity.
I love your core values. Okay,
yeah. But the biggest one is practice aloha, right? For us, being a Hawaiian brand, we're really inspired by the Hawaiian culture. And practice aloha is just spread love and kindness and compassion, which is this whole circle thing about hospitality. Not to just our guests, right? But to each other, to ourselves, to our vendors, to our suppliers. Being nice goes a long way.
Well, I mean, comes back to that, right? Like you just mentioned that. We talked about it earlier, parents not really speaking English, but being kind and smiling goes a really long. I mean, that's the Aloha spirit, right? It shines through you. It's interesting, because y'all have a really, I know you know this, I'm preaching to the choir, but you've got a really smart concept because labor has gotten, the cost of labor has gone up, the ability to hire hardworking labor that, will have that Aloha spirit and smile and treat people kindly. It's pretty hard these days.
It's tough, yeah. It is. I think for us, for Pokeworks, being what we heard from our staff, the kids who are working frontline and facing our customers every day, is that they like it because they're not standing in front of a grill. There's no grease in their face. It's just a nice environment, right? It's easier to work in. Our training is really simple. We try to. This is where we apply a lot of training material that's friendly to the new generations. They can access on their phone. They can do X, Y, and Z all on their app. So it's a little bit easier to train and make it get to them faster. Get information to them in the way that they like to receive it, rather than sitting through a video or whatever I remember doing when I started.
Right. Yeah. Do you use what? Do y'all use Opus?
Mm-hmm. No. I'm not sure. I'm not part of that project, but I know we just changed to a new software. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. There's a lot of good softwares out there now, for that. Yeah, for sure. So, okay. So 2006, so you're 8 years in. Gosh, that's a lot of growth. Is it continuing to grow at the same pace, or are you is it X percent per year you want to grow, or what are your measurements on that?
So right now we're at a stage where we want to control it to around 10% growth per year.
Yeah.
And I would say the biggest bottleneck is real estate. We're really selective with the real estate these days, learning that location, right? You've heard of that. And it's really important. So to find good real estate, there's definitely you got to be patient. You can't just, say, oh, well, it's good enough. Let's take a shot. Sometimes that's, we used to do that, right? But we realize making the right decision first with real estate is more important than anything else.
What is the right real estate?
Well, for Pokeworks, I believe that for any fast casual or quick service, convenience is huge. Convenience and visibility, easy parking, easy ingress, egress, protected turns into the parking lot, accessibility to the parking lot. You're not crossing a busy street, whatever it is to get to it. That's the case for suburbs. Urban's a little bit different, right? New York City, you just got to be on the right block. But for us, it's those basic things. And of course, every brand will have their different demographics and psychographics. For Pokeworks, we've done a lot of studies on who our people, our guests are, not just their age, their income, ethnicity, but also what kind of lifestyle they have. Are they an individual that subscribes to Netflix and likes to go on trips, whatever? There's data out there to show the different categories of psychographic. And we've narrowed it down to a group that we feel are prime Pokeworks guests. And when we map real estate, we make sure that these things are there.
Where do you get that kind of data?
There's a lot. There's Placer AI. There's psychographic platforms out there, and they kind of compile their information in different ways. So there's some really cool reports out there. But it's just good to see behavior more so than just demographics.
Okay, so would I, like, if I'm thinking in the Southeast here, where you've got like a lot of these like grocery store anchored, strip areas or whatever, like Publix or Harris Teeter's, like, is a place like that a good place for y'all? Or is it more, that's in the suburbs.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Harris Teeter, that's a grocery chain in your neighborhood. Yeah, it really depends on, for example, we probably do better with a Trader Joe's or Whole Foods versus a Walmart. So there's an income kind of that we look for. We do really well in lifestyle centers with Lululemons or Cycle Bars, Soul Cycle, because our food is naturally quite healthy, plain
Yeah,
food.
you get done with your cycle class and you go grab poke.
Yeah, exactly. And I always like to say we were able to hit those diet and healthy cues without sacrificing flavor. Right? It's you still get that satisfaction after you eat. Sometimes after a salad, I'm still craving something. But with poke bowls, I'm always stuffed, but I feel clean. I don't feel bloated.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think going back to your question of growth, besides our footprint growth, our sales and transaction growth has been really promising. Now that we're just starting 2025, we have our 2024 data, and our same store sales are up a lot, exceeding industry standards almost by 4x. Our transactions, if you look at reports for fast casual, they were actually down a bit last year. We're up. Our check averages also beat industry standards. So seeing some of those healthy cues give the team a lot of confidence going into 2025 and the future of Pokeworks, as a Poke segment.
How are you driving all that? What's working?
I always say to our team and the leadership team, we always drill back to it. Operational excellence, the fundamentals. It really is. I think for a while we kind of got distracted with all the pretty shiny things out there, with tech, with certain things, and then we kind of lost. Didn't keep our eyes on the ball for a bit, which is product, customer service, and the place. So product, people, and place, the 3 Ps I always go back to. It's so important because, you can spend millions and millions of dollars in marketing and you have your ads everywhere and they come into your store going, hey, I saw this place on Instagram. They go in, it tastes like not so good. They're not going to come back.
Or the service sucks or what. Yeah, you are
exactly
right about it. Yep.
Yeah. So
and
marketing,
that's not uncommon in the hospitality world, and particularly in growing brands. It's like a lot of sizzle, and you can get people in the first time, but then if you lose them, it's going to be really hard to get them back. And you see that like a decent amount, with brands that aren't really dialed in like y'all are. You guys are crushing it, man. I'm really impressed with the way y'all run this thing.
Thank you so much.
That you were self-aware enough to know back to the basics. Like you always got to get back to the basics. It's easy to get distracted a little bit in any business.
It is.
And those fundamentals are just so key. That's true in sports. It's true in everything, right? Like fundamentals,
Yeah.
So you said people, product, and place.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And kind of one level above making sure that we're doing it is hyper focus on reviews. Because reviews, we see it as a leading and potentially lagging indicator of what happened or what's going to happen. We have a huge initiative for our franchisees to gather as much Google reviews as possible.
Yes.
Because that ultimately helps your placement on SEO. On when people search food around me, guess what pops up? The highest and most activity rated businesses, right?
Yes.
But also, you're not going to get 5 stars if you're not focusing on your 3 Ps, right? Because you might get someone to come in, you get a 2-star, your dropping goes down again. Yeah. So it's kind of it's a flywheel to keep going. Once you get better, you keep going, get more reviews, and then now your marketing dollars actually have a purpose. You can spend on Google Ads, whatever, just to promote your great reviews and your highly reviewed restaurant, rather than trying to, So it starts with the 3 Ps. It always
starts with the 3 Ps. How do you how do you drive review activity? Like, do y'all have, do you ask for reviews, or do you prompt customers, or like what drives that?
We tried a lot of stuff. The little things, right? QR codes, like super easy QR codes at table tents, at the cash register. But the best and most effective thing is asking for it. Mm-hmm. And that's tough because you got to ask the cashier, to say, hey, hope everything was okay. Please give us a review. And, you have to sell that, right? If you just, hey, give us a review without any enthusiasm or anything, the customer's not going to do it, right? So you got to give them a reason to, right? Hopefully, as they experience the line come down, build their bowl, you gave them an experience that they're like, you know what, you deserve a review, right? You did a great job. You made me smile. You made my day a little bit better today. I'll give you a 5-star. And they make it easy enough where you scan your phone. It takes you already to your business's Google listing. Just press 5-star. You don't have to write anything these days. It's actually really quick, right? So having a employee, having a manager ask for a review in the right way is, I would say, the best.
Do you have monthly, weekly, quarterly franchisee, I don't know, training or town halls or things where you get them all on a Zoom and talk about things like that and share ideas?
We just did actually yesterday. That was our first of the year. Yeah. Our town hall, 2025 kickoff town hall. And we have awards, right? And one of them is customer satisfaction awards. And we recognize the top 3 stores with the highest and most volume of reviews. And, one of our stores in Denver, they won this award. And, we show the effect of it. We show their year-over-year sales increase and how it correlates to the reviews that they get.
Yeah.
Their sales increase to sales. And it's just almost a 1-to-1 correlation, right? But it drives everything else. It drives that culture in the store to say, hey, we need 5-star reviews to get our sales up. But how do we get 5-star reviews? And then it kind of keeps going in a loop. So it's a positive reinforcing loop. And as a company, that's the culture that we want to build with other franchisees to get them on board. And we create incentive programs as well. Once you reach a certain number of reviews, corporate would actually spend marketing dollars on your behalf to help you push your business. So we drive this culture. Yeah.
I love that, man. That's great. And it's a very repeatable thing. It's not complicated. It's
so
just
simple.
Just bake it into your culture and reinforce it and lead by example and just that stuff. Like you said, it's a flywheel. It just snowballs and where everybody's in, and it's hard to stop. That's great.
Yeah.
Doing so well in Denver in the last year, hats off, because Denver's had just in general, tough year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they've had issues with crime, and they've had all the labor's obviously their labor laws have changed. And I know a lot of operators there that are like, oh, this has been a hard year. So congratulations to that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. It seems like you would do really well in places where people live an active lifestyle. It's kind of synonymous. You're active and because you want to be healthy, and then so you want to have healthy food, and it just, that would seem like that would go together hand in hand.
I think so. Yeah, we do well with fitness anchored centers. LA Fitness is 24-hour fitness is,
right.
We always have the guys after their workout, they just come and grab a bowl.
Yep.
It's great protein, right?
Well, 750 square feet there in New York, obviously there's no seating. Do your places, was it all takeout, or do you have any, there's some that have seating as well, or?
Yeah. Now I would say our average square footage is about 1,200 square feet.
Okay.
We'll have a small dining room, maybe 8 to 15 seats, depending on size.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Interesting. All right. So 10% growth, smart, not letting it get away from you. I love that, man. You guys are, man, you are some good business people, Peter. I can tell.
Thank you. We're it's keeping our head down and just focusing on the fundamentals. It really is what it is.
How are your folks doing?
Mm-hmm. Good. I'm so happy to say that they're retired now. They're still in San Diego. My dad picked up golf at the age of 64, and now he's 67, and he kicks my ass now, shooting probably in the 80s and high 70s, which is insane. But
that's incredible.
Yeah,
3 years. He picked it up at 64, and he's already shooting in the high 70s.
Yes, that's his best round. He probably averages mid 80s, which is still impressive.
Still incredible. Yeah.
He's playing 4 or 5 times a week. He's just constantly on the golf course. But I'm so happy for him. They work so hard their whole lives, and just want to make sure they're happy doing what they're doing.
He's probably just consistent.
Exactly. Yep.
Just boom, boom, boom. Yep. I
Yeah,
love it.
he drives as far as maybe my 9-iron, but he's straight, and I'm
But
shooting
it's
into
right
the
down the
woods.
middle
Yeah,
every
yeah,
time. Every
yeah,
time. Yeah, that's
exactly.
awesome. Ah,
Yeah,
that's so cool. What a great story. What a great, like, I don't know, for whatever reason, we've been, I've had a lot of opportunities recently on this podcast to interview people that either, their parents immigrated here or they immigrated here. And man, it just underscores the incredible opportunity we have in this country if you deploy exactly what you've just talked about, which is just, it's that rolling up your sleeves. Like if you are willing to roll up your sleeves and work hard,
yeah,
the world's your oyster here. It really, really is. I mean,
agreed. Yeah,
there's obstacles to everything. Nowhere's perfect, but it's time after time, people that just say,
yeah,
it's like not that hard. Like, what's the key to success? Well, it's like, a big part of it's just hard work. It's
it
like
really
being
is.
willing
Yeah,
to stick into fundamentals, taking care of your customers, working hard, being consistent, doing it with a smile. Like,
you got it.
name a
Yeah,
business where that doesn't work. Like,
right. That's true. Yeah, yeah.
well, before I let you go, is there anything else you want to rap about? Because I just love what you are doing. I hope you wind up in Charlotte. We would support you for sure.
Oh, thank you, Will.
Yeah.
We'll get there. We'll get there. I promise you.
Actually,
Yeah.
let me ask you okay. So when you go into a market, like let's say you came into Charlotte and somebody was like, I want in, it's the right person. Do you have resources that you deploy to help them find real estate, or do you? And the reason I ask is like one of my buddies is a really successful real estate developer kind of in the Southeast. I asked about grocery store. He does a lot of Publix centers. Publix is a big grocery store out of Florida that's growing in the Southeast. And,
Yep.
Stuff like, do you have resources already on the ground in places, or like, how do you manage that process to help? Because if place is so big,
Yeah.
that's key. Like, how do you make sure that they're successful with that?
Yeah, no, great question. So for us, when we enter a market that's brand new to us, let's say we recently signed a franchisee in Minnesota, I've never been. So first, we have a network of brokers. So we have a broker, and then we get referrals to a broker that they trust in that market. We interview them, make sure they understand what we're trying to achieve as a brand, make sure there's alignment, and then they get to work with the franchisee. But within a month or two, I mean, sometimes sooner, me and my VP of development, we fly out and boots on the ground. And guess what I'm doing? I'm sitting in front of interested sites with a clicker again and counting traffic.
Love it, man.
Right?
That is great.
Exactly. And that's, I love the tech out there. I love psychographic, demographic, and all these fancy reports, but there's nothing like feeling the center, feeling the vibe. There's certain things you can't put on paper, right? There's just that vibe. And you have to be there, click it, see the traffic, what type of people are walking through, which route they're taking, why are they parking here, not there. It's hard for data to show some of those things. So that's what we do, and that's what we help. We take multiple trips. And one of the commitments I have personally to all of our franchisees, I will not let you sign a lease until I've seen the site. And then I don't know everything, but I know a lot about the brand and what works and what doesn't. And I take that knowledge, I share it with the broker, then the broker then shares it with the franchisee who knows their market, assuming, right, they lived there for a long time. And all three of these parties combined, we try to make the best decision.
Got it. Okay. Do you have okay. Man, I love that. I will if you're interested, just let me know, email or whatever, and I can get you connected with Trey Morgan. He does they do development, brokerage, super well respected and successful here in the Southeast. So if you're growing in this area, you want another contact, Yeah,
thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, that'd be great.
for sure. For sure. What else should we talk about before we wrap this up, man?
If you haven't tried it, check us out. Pokeworks franchise, if you're interested. But like I said, we're just growing this thing brick by brick, staying humble, but really doing what we can to, being proud as a segment leader, one store at a time. And we do think there's so much white space left in the U.S. to really grow Poke as a segment.
Keep sticking to those fundamentals and it'll work, man. Thank you for doing this again. And thank you for sharing your story. I think I have a tremendous amount of respect for you and your partners and the way you're growing this business. And
thank you, sir.
the philosophies that you use and the values that y'all have. And then just I tip my hat to your folks, man. They clearly raised some great sons, and y'all are doing a wonderful job. And glad that they're retired, and glad your dad's kicking your ass on the course, man. I bet he loves it.
Man. Oh, he loves it. Yeah, he loves it too much. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. Well, I really appreciate you.
You bet, man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm sure we'll cross paths again. Thanks, Peter. Have a good one.
For sure. Thanks. You too.
All right. See ya.